In this tutorial, we will examine the three major inspections that occur during a standard real estate purchase transaction: the home inspection, the appraisal, the pest inspection. Buying a home these days without conducting a thorough home inspection is asking for trouble. But who can you trust to do a home inspection? Should you call your uncle or cousin who say they know about property, a handyman, or a certified home inspector? Obviously, with so much to lose, a certified home inspector is the wisest choice. Saving money is important, yes, but this is not the department to skimp and save in. Depending on where in the country you're buying and the size of the home, spending the $300 to $800 or so for a good inspection will be money well spent. And if a problem arises, you really have no recourse if your cousin looked over the home, whereas a home inspection company would be a different story. Home inspectors are trained to investigate and report problems that are not always visible to the naked eye. So what needs to get inspected? The electrical system. Make sure there's adequate power and that it's safe. An infrared image of the main panel would be taken, looking for hot spots. The circuit breakers and wiring should also be checked. The roof. There are multiple types of roof, including asphalt, wood, concrete, and clay tile. Some inspectors won't walk the roof for safety reasons. Find out if yours will. The plumbing system. This can be very delicate and costly to update or repair. The supply piping, drainage piping, fuel service and pipes, and laundry systems are some of the things to be looked at. Your inspector should look for signs of leakage not just visually but with infrared thermography. And of course, don't forget the good old water heater. The interior of the home. Floors, walls, ceilings, floor coverings, stairs, all kitchen appliances, smoke detectors, bathroom components, and the all-important attic, particularly with the ventilation system in mind. The foundation. You typically run across three types of foundations: slab on grade, post-tension, and post and beam systems. Slabs are inspected from the exterior, whereas post and beam foundations are looked at from underneath. Using an inspector that's certified to inspect foundations for HUD, FHA, and VA compliance is an added benefit if you can find one. Exterior inspection. Driveways, sidewalks, and patios should be looked at, as well as any decks and railing. Any wall covering, such as stucco or siding, will be inspected, as well as a chimney if present, as well as retaining walls. The HVAC unit is a vital component of the structure. There are several types of heating and cooling systems. The cooling component and any ductwork that's accessible will be inspected also. Swimming pool. There are many parts to a pool that need inspection, such as the pumps, filters, motors, valves, and electrical systems. Safety system components such as barriers and drain covers should also be checked. There are specialists in every field, much like a cardiologist compared to a general practitioner. In the same way, home inspectors are licensed and certified to go only so far. There are certain limits they don't go beyond because their expertise or certification won't allow them to. For example, if the inspector finds mold, you may need to call in a certified mold inspector. Similarly, a roof problem may mean a roof inspector has to come take a look. A crack in the pool might mean a pool inspector needs to come by. There are too many issues to list, both hazardous and non-hazardous, which could come up during a home inspection. But mentioning a few will help you see how easy it would be to buy a home without doing your due diligence. Wrong size breakers in the panel of the AC unit or loose wires creating a fire hazard. Possible water penetration in the roof because framers overshot the nails through the shingles and decking. A missing high loop under the sink allowing food from the disposer to be sucked back to your dishwasher. Signs of push or bulging from external pressures on basement walls shown by some cracks at grade level. Scaling, indicating some moisture against the walls. Exposed live wires on a basement ceiling. Missing smoke alarms. Water pooling in the crawl space under a house. Buyers often ask, how long should a home inspection take, and should I accompany the inspector? Inspections can take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours when done right, and although it's not necessary for the buyer to be physically present, being there can be enlightening. Just be aware that there are some places the inspector will go that may not be safe or practical for you to follow. For this reason, insist that the inspector's written report include color photos so you can see what your inspector saw. The home inspection is your way of identifying structural or mechanical problems that may affect your decision to purchase the home. So why do you need an appraisal? Simple answer: the home inspection is for you. The appraisal is for the lender. The lender orders an appraisal to protect their financial investment in your home by making sure the home is really worth what you've agreed to pay for it. The appraisal is supposed to be subjective, not objective. In other words, value is given based on the desirability of the property in the buyer's eyes as well as outside forces that affect it. An objective view, on the other hand, says because something is, it has value. An objective view might say that 3-bedroom bungalow is worth $75,000 because it's a 3-bedroom bungalow. An example of a subjective influence would be a national employer opening its new headquarters 5 blocks from the home. The increased population, and thus the demand created for that home, impacts its appraised value. That same property would probably have even more value if it sat by the lake overlooking a golf course. An appraiser has to take into consideration not only what those outside influences are, but how significantly each influence affects the value and desirability. These are known on the final appraisal report as adjustments. For example, that 3-bedroom bungalow on a busy traffic street would be given a negative adjustment compared to an identical home sitting on a hill with no neighbors or traffic. The appraiser also recognizes there's a difference between price and value. The home at 373 Mason Street was sold for a price of $95,000. We don't know yet that it may have been sold from her deathbed by grandmother to grandson and that its value is, say, $140,000. On the final report, the market value that's indicated by the appraiser is a professional opinion on the most probable price that home would bring in a fair and open market, where the home is exposed for a reasonable amount of time to everyday buyers without any unusual influences affecting the sale. An extreme but very real example of an unusual influence would be that of a seller driven to sell and vacate a home because of racial slogans sprayed on the walls or constant harassment from neighbors. The duress under which the seller sold the home means it wasn't a typical sale. Appraisers have a difficult job to perform because they're applying their professional opinion to an imperfect commodity, real estate. An ounce of gold can cost the same just about everywhere because gold is gold. But 2 properties that are almost identical in age, size, location, design, etc., that are sold on the same day will not sell for the same price because the real estate market is an imperfect market containing built-in price variance. Here are 3 major components of the appraisal process. 1. The physical inspection. Unlike a home inspection, which can take 2 to 4 hours, an appraiser spends maybe 30 to 45 minutes maximum at a property. He or she will take measurements of the perimeter of the home and sometimes even the interior, perform visual inspections, and take photos of all major rooms, the street scene, and front and back of the home. Remember, the appraiser is not a licensed contractor, home inspector, or roof inspector, or some such. The appraisal inspection is more of an observation than an investigation. On FHA appraisals, the utility should be on during the appraiser's visit so that the various components like electrical, mechanical, and plumbing can be tested to be in working order. For example, the appraiser will make sure the toilets flush, faucets work, and both hot and cold water run. For vacant properties, if the utilities are not on when the appraiser visits, a re-inspection will be necessary once the utilities are turned on. 2. Comparable sales analysis. The appraiser will not only physically inspect the home, but back at the office spend a good deal of time analyzing available market data surrounding the property. He or she will analyze the sales activity of surrounding homes in your area. Typically, comparable sales can't be older than 3 to 6 months for consideration in the final report. From where does the appraiser gather this data to help determine value? The local multiple listing services, also known as MLS. County public records, sometimes with help from title companies. Conversations with local real estate brokers and even other appraisers. Past experience of completing appraisals in the same area. Visual inspections of other homes in the area. 3. The final appraisal report. So what's in the final document? It's typically over 20 to 25 pages long, so let's just summarize the high points. A street map showing the location of the home and all the comparables the appraiser picked. the property's address, tax assessor's parcel number, legal description, age, design, physical characteristics, and neighborhood characteristics. A plat map from county records. An exterior and interior building sketch and floor plans with calculations showing the gross living area. Photographs of all major rooms, plus the street scene, front and back of the home, and front of each comparable home used. Here are some surprising facts that might show up on an appraisal report. An unfinished room isn't part of a livable area and can be a roadblock on your loan. A basement doesn't count towards gross living area because nothing below grade does. A bedroom without a closet is not a bedroom. Additions or conversions without permits can reduce gross living area. To be considered a full bath, a bathroom must have a shower. Some common questions home buyers ask include: who orders the appraisal? Your lender does, and they actually own the finished report once it's completed, even though you, the home buyer, pay for it. How much do appraisals cost? Depending on the state that you're in and the size and type of property you're purchasing, appraisals these days can range anywhere from $350 to $1,500 or more for high-end homes. Do I get a copy of the appraisal report? The answer is yes. Upon request, your lender should send you a copy. Who else gets to see my appraisal? It's not uncommon for the insurance company writing the homeowner's policy to want to take a peek at your appraisal. What happens if the appraisal value comes in lower than the purchase price? If either party to the transaction feels the appraiser hasn't taken into consideration all the facts, the real estate agents involved in the deal can help provide additional, maybe overlooked data, such as a recent sale that wasn't known to the appraiser, for reconsideration of value. A rebuttal example might involve the discovery that one of the comparable sales the appraiser used was actually a pre-bankruptcy sale by the owner to unload his home to a cash investor 24 hours before foreclosure. There might be cause to give less weight to this comparable or replace it with more standard comparables. By following certain protocol, your lender can then present this discovery to the appraiser, keeping in mind that any dialogue between your loan officer and the appraisal management company is regulated. If there's tangible evidence the home you're buying is not being accurately evaluated by the appraiser, an appeal can and should be made to reconsider the derived value. All too often, however, if the value comes in lower and the seller refuses to budge, the deal cancels. To avoid this, the seller and buyer may agree to split the difference, or the seller may even lower the price to match the appraisal. The third and last type of inspection you should know about in this tutorial is the pest inspection. The pest inspection, unless mandated by your lender, is optional. In fact, even FHA financing no longer requires it, but seeing that termites have been found in climates as cold as Alaska, for a few $100s, it's just not smart to buy a home without one. The pest inspection looks for all wood-destroying pests, not just termites, and pest inspectors are certified and licensed by the state. Left unrestricted, termites can burrow right through a wooden floor, a problem that potentially creates a serious safety hazard. And remember, home insurance policies don't cover termite damage, so be sure to get an inspection. Beginning with a basement or foundation and working up, a pest inspector will initially check to make sure no wooden structure of the home is in contact with the soil. There are 3 possible outcomes to termite or pest inspection. Number 1. No evidence of wood-destroying pests. If this is so, you can get away with regular preventative treatment. Number 2. Evidence of damage. This could include droppings around window sills, wood damage, cellulose shavings on the soil near the foundation, termite tubes, and tunneling in wooden beams. It means the inspector discovered damage to the property which was most likely the result of pests but did not find an active infestation. In other words, there wasn't any evidence that the damage was being aggravated by active live insects. In this case, it might be wise to request a 1-year warranty from the termite company to back up their findings. Number 3. Evidence of active infestation. This requires immediate treatment. Hopefully, by the time you discover this, you and the seller have determined on the purchase contract who's responsible for fixing the problem. Once completed, the termite report and any written warranties are delivered directly to the settlement or escrow agent so as to avoid tampering by any party. We've discussed the 3 major inspections involved in a real estate transaction. Thank you for watching, and be sure to contact the featured real estate professional who provided you with this valuable video tutorial.